Markle has made plenty of mistakes in the public eye, so here's our list of the top 10 times Meghan Markle got called out for being rude to the public. Starting off, we have her Nigeria trip. Now, Meghan Markle and Prince Harry were on a 3-day visit to Nigeria. Now, it was their first official international tour since stepping back from royal roles in 2020. Notably, the couple is not on a visit on behalf of the UK government or King Charles, but rather on an invitation by a Nigerian Chief of Defence Staff, General Christopher Musa, to bring attention to Harry's Invictus Games. While there though, the Duchess was slammed for being rude during her 3-day visit to the African nation. Biographer Angela Levin reportedly criticized Harry and Meghan over their unofficial royal visit and called their appearance phony and awful. Speaking to GB News, the author said that Meghan was awful and rude during an interaction. She was very rude because one of the teachers was talking to her and there were 2 girls there joining in politely. Levin spoke about the visit to Lightway Academy College. Bored Meghan then sort of pulled Harry, which she usually does, the author claimed. Levin also spoke about the outfit she wore. If you go into a school, a very quiet school that is a religious one, you don't go with a dress that has absolutely no backing to it at all, she said. Now we have taking the mic. Meghan and Harry attended Kevin Costner's 1805 live charity event back in September 2023. Now, the couple were seen at Kevin's $26 million polo field in Santa Barbara, and when they were at the event, the couple got on stage with Kevin, which was when an awkward moment appeared to take place. Now, on Twitter, one page shared a video clip of Meghan at the event, with them pointing out the very cringe-filled moment. Now, the video showed Meghan walking towards a woman who was walking towards her before the Duchess reached out for the microphone the woman was holding. As Meghan reached out for the microphone, the lady held onto it tightly before Meghan broke her grasp and the lady walked past her. She then directed the lady in the direction she was meant to be going. She's all manic over the attention, she thinks the lady is giving her the microphone, one person said, while another said OMG the secondhand embarrassment, and a third said ouch so embarrassing. Then there's staying on stage. In May 2022, a cringeworthy video was taken following a tournament at the Santa Barbara Polo Club. In the video, Meghan was seen walking on stage to present her husband and his Los Padres teammates with a trophy. But then she stayed up on the stage and things got awkward as she appeared to wish for a spot in between the players when no one was acknowledging her. Meghan then tried to grab an item from one of Harry's teammates, but he refused to give it to her. Royal expert Cara Kennedy said that this wasn't a PR opportunity, but Meghan must have seen it that way. Now, this is why I think the spare stuff is even more telling, because Meghan knows the full outcome of Harry's memoir is going to be embarrassing for her and going to be kind of bad image-wise, so she stayed away from that kind of PR crusade. Whereas stuff like this, the polo match, where he's trying to get his own thing, he's trying to get into local sports with the local team, she just can't help but kind of crowbar her way into every photo, the royal expert claimed. Next up is the photo op. Meghan was recently filmed seemingly refusing to let a woman stand next to Prince Harry for a photo to celebrate his polo team's recent win. Now, in footage posted by Hello Magazine, Meghan scoots closer to her husband's side on the stage at the Grand Champions Polo Club as another woman attempted to get beside the Duke. They were posing for a photo op following the Royal Salute Polo Challenge, and Meghan stood her ground though as the unidentified woman did not budge. The Duchess was heard asking, "Do you want to come over here?" Meghan then smiled while motioning for the woman to stand on her left side instead, as someone else in the video again suggested, "Come over here." Now, the woman proceeded to duck under the championship trophy and settled in a spot next to the Duchess. One person said of Meghan in a video of the incident, "She seems insecure regarding her husband. That's why she keeps clinging onto him, and any woman who stands beside him is told to stand beside her." Another added, "Meghan's controlling personality on display for the world to see. So lacking in grace and generous spirit. She has included herself in Harry's team win. Mortifying." And lastly, we have the celebration claim. Now, Meghan claimed that she was told by a South African actor at the 2019 Lion King premiere in London that the celebrations after her marrying Prince Harry were comparable to those when Nelson Mandela was freed from prison. Now, Dr. John Candy was the only South African actor in the cast, and he denied these claims. Now, he also took deep offense in comparing that with Mandela's release from prison. Then Nelson Mandela's own grandson commented on the claim that Nelson's release from jail was the culmination of nearly 350 years of struggle in which generations of our people paid with their lives. So it's been proven that this never happened and she lied for no reason. Well, that's all for our list of the top 5 times Meghan Markle got called out for being rude to the public. Now it seems like Meghan has a track record with being rude and she should really stop.
The 2024 Oscar Awards came and went last night, and at first glance it seems like the event went pretty smoothly and without much scandal. But it seems that the usually unproblematic Emma Stone was caught on camera making a controversial remark about the night's host, Jimmy Kimmel. At one point during the award show, a montage of Emma's film Poor Things was shown, which was nominated for a staggering 10 Oscars and it won 3. Following this montage, Jimmy Kimmel said to the audience, quote, "Those were all the parts of Poor Things that we're allowed to show on TV," seemingly referring to the sheer amount of nudity and other explicit scenes in the film. The camera then shows Emma Stone in the audience, and this is when the facts start to get a bit hazy. She's seen mouthing something to her husband in reaction to Kimmel's comments, and viewers are convinced that the actress said, "What a prick." Others think she simply said, "Oh my god." But honestly, after watching through the clip over and over, it seems that both phrases fit perfectly. So what do you guys think? And that's not the only excitement that Emma Stone stirred up at the Oscars last night. The actress also won in the category of Best Actress and walked the stage to give her acceptance speech. Didn't take long for the audience to notice something wasn't quite right, however, as she was seen awkwardly gripping and motioning to the back of her cream Louis Vuitton gown. Turning around before starting her speech, she gave the crowd a good look at the back of her dress, which was gaping after the zipper gave up on her. She then turned to the microphone and said, "My dress is broken." I think it happened during the I'm Just Ken. Besides being a bit flustered, she was able to finish up her speech and then hobbled off stage, still grasping her dress. But luckily the star was able to be sewn back into her dress before stepping inside the press room. Of course, everyone on the internet is a lip reader these days, and this Emma Stone incident is not an isolated one at all. Celebrities at award shows have been getting enrolled in scandal at almost every turn now, with amateur and pro lip readers alike doing their best to decode what celebrities are saying when the cameras are on them. In the age of instant information and viral content, even the most simple celebrity interactions can be misconstrued and just sensationalized, as if celebrities don't already have constant speculation surrounding their private lives. Like Taylor Swift and Selena Gomez, for example. Earlier this year during the Golden Globes, the internet was buzzing after a video showed Selena Gomez deep in conversation with Taylor Swift and Keely Sperry. The group were huddled in close, seemingly trying to keep their words private. And we can't have that, can we? Internet sleuths claim that it appeared as though Selena was telling the group that she had asked Timothée Chalamet for a photo with him, only for his girlfriend Kylie Jenner to refuse on his behalf. Selena was claimed to have said, quote, "I asked for a picture with him and she said no." Keely Sperry, who's married to Miles Teller by the way, then replied to Selena asking Timothy, seemingly to clarify, which Selena then nodded in confirmation. Taylor Swift's jaw then dropped, only fueling speculation that this was indeed the convo that went down. Selena tried to clear up this rumor later with a comment on Instagram saying, "No, I told Taylor about 2 of my friends who hooked up, not that it's anyone's business." Following that incident, it seems like Taylor learned from her mistakes. At the Grammy Awards this year, she was spotted with a lacy black fan, and this fan was used to strategically cover her mouth when she was speaking to people at her table, including her friend Jack Antonoff. Taylor hasn't commented on these speculations, so it's possible that a fashion choice for the evening just turned out to be convenient for her in the light of all these rumors. Other notable celebrities affected by amateur lip readers were John Krasinski and his wife Emily Blunt. Also going down at the Golden Globes, the pair were posing and smiling on the red carpet when lip readers saw something that stunned them. According to them, it seems that John Krasinski turned to his wife and murmured, "I can't wait for divorce." Considering the pair are one of the internet's favorite couples, and also the fact that they've been married for over 15 years, that caused social media to actually lose it. One person wrote, quote, "I've watched this 500 times trying to convince myself that he said something other than divorce." And another person said, "How many times did I replay this to try and understand what he said? Please don't break my heart, you two." However, I saw the two in the audience at last night's Oscars and they looked just as happy as ever. So let's just hope this is some wacky rumor and the couple continues to thrive. The act of lip reading has been called more of an art than a science, and I definitely agree with that. What do you guys think about all the celebrity lip reading that's going on right now? I feel like it's something that's it's all fun and games until it's not. It can definitely be a source of lighthearted entertainment, but when we're starting to call people's marriages into question, you can also see how this can have a negative real-world consequence. I mean, do you think Emma Stone really called Jimmy Kimmel a prick? Celebrities know more than anyone that there is no privacy at an award show, so I doubt our girl forgot that there were cameras on her, especially in a moment where her film is being joked about. But what do you think? Taylor Swift is closing out 2023 on a high note because she's just become the first entertainer to ever earn Time's prestigious Person of the Year title. The news broke exactly 1 week before her 34th birthday, and that would have just given her something extra to celebrate. She graced 3 global covers of the magazine and sat down for a rare confessional interview where she talked about her life, her career, and all of her accolades over the years. But it's no surprise that one part of the interview is now what people are focused on. Taylor got straight to the point when talking about her age-old feud with Kim Kardashian and Kanye West, which reached its climax in 2016 after Kim released snippets purported to be a phone conversation between Kanye and Taylor, where they were talking about the lyric "I made that beef famous." She then clapped back at the 2016 Grammys, saying there are going to be people along the way who are going to try to undercut your success or take credit for your accomplishments or your fame. This caused a massive scandal to erupt, and fans called Taylor a snake for seemingly lying that she never consented to using those lyrics. But it wasn't until 4 years later that the full phone call made the rounds on social media that finally exonerated Taylor of any wrongdoing. During the call, you can hear Kanye reassure her that the lyrics won't be about her and that he would conveniently leave out the fact that he was going to call her a B-word. So in the end, it was revealed that Taylor was telling the truth. Looking back on that scandal, Taylor said, "You have a fully manufactured frame job in an illegally recorded phone call, which Kim Kardashian edited and put out to say to everyone that I was a liar." She described the situation saying that it took her down psychologically to a place that she had never been before. She said, "I moved to a foreign country. I didn't leave a rental house for a year. I was afraid to get on phone calls. I pushed away most people in my life because I didn't trust anyone anymore. Then I went down really hard." She went on to release 2017's Reputation, partially in response to that scandal, which is an album she remembers as being met with uproar and skepticism. She felt that that moment of backlash was going to define her negatively for the rest of her life. She said, "Make no mistake, my career was taken away from me." In the interview, Taylor described her fallout with Kim and Kanye as being one of the 2 springboards for the success that she has today. The second one was having her life's work taken away from her by someone who hates her. She was referring to the 2020 sale of her album masters to Scooter Braun, who acquired them from the owner of Taylor's ex-label Big Machine Records, Scott Borchetta. She said, "With the Scooter thing, my masters were being sold to someone who actively wanted them for nefarious reasons, in my opinion. I was so knocked on my A by the sale of that music and to whom it was sold. I was like, oh, they got me beat now, this is it, I don't know what to do." After a lot of public back and forth, Taylor decided to reclaim her lost albums by re-recording them one by one, a project that she is now 2/3 of the way through. Only her 2006 self-titled debut and Reputation are left. When speaking about this whole situation, she said, "My response to anything that happens, good or bad, is to keep making things, keep making art, but I've also learned there's no point in actively trying to quote-unquote defeat your enemies. Trash takes itself out every single time." Though at the time, things did look truly hopeless for her. From 2006 to 2017, she released 6 studio albums under Big Machine Records. When her contract was coming to an end in 2018, her lawyers proposed that her masters be sold back to her, but Scooter Braun would only agree to that if she signed another 10-year contract with them. An agreement was never reached, and she called out Big Machine Record executives in a scathing social media post that said, "For years I asked, pleaded for a chance to own my own work. Instead, I was given an opportunity to sign up to Big Machine Records and earn 1 album back at a time, 1 for every new one I turned in. I learned about Scooter Braun's purchase of my masters as it was announced to the world. All I could think about was the incessant manipulative bullying I've received at his hands for years." She even accused them of preventing her from performing her older songs at the 2019 AMAs. In the end, she never backed down and decided to re-record her earlier albums so she could finally own the masters. She left Big Machine to sign with Universal and embarked on a project to record like-for-like copies of her first 6 albums, all in order to reclaim ownership of the master recordings and devalue Scooter's investment, since any movies or ads looking to use her music would only be able to use the Taylor Swift-owned copies that she has nicknamed Taylor's version. And this worked out very well for her. In 2020, Scooter decided to sell her masters to Shamrock Holdings, a private equity firm owned by Disney. Taylor even went on to write a few songs about the situation, information, including My Tears, Ricochet, and Karma. So in the end, she was able to take back that creative control that she's always wanted. And when that dispute was publicized, it's safe to say that Scooter didn't have many fans left if he ever did before. Now, if you've ever wondered how Taylor feels about the process of re-releasing her first 6 albums, well, she said it's akin to something out of a fantasy adventure film, like collecting Horcruxes or Infinity Stones. But it turns out she wasn't immediately sure whether or not she wanted to embark on this whole quest. She said, I'd run into Kelly Clarkson and she would go, just redo it. My dad kept saying it to me too. I'd look at them and go, how can I possibly do that? No one wants to redo their homework if only on the way to school the wind blows your book report away. There was also a lot of other juicy information in this interview. Some people have been wondering since the Eras tour kicked off how Taylor is physically able to get through a 3-hour show every night, all while making it look completely effortless. In response, she explained that every day she would run on the treadmill singing the entire set list out loud, fast for fast songs and a jog or a fast walk for slow songs. She also started a fitness routine that was designed specially for her by her gym, which included strength, conditioning, and weights. She said, I had 3 months of dance training because I wanted to get it into my bones. I wanted to be so over-rehearsed that I could be silly with the fans and not lose my train of thought. Plus, Taylor says that she has completely ditched alcohol because she wouldn't dream of trying to get through one of her shows while being hungover, which sounds like a nightmare. And last but not least, she finally broke her silence on her relationship with Travis Kelce. The world was blown away when she showed up to one of Kelce's Chiefs games at Arrowhead Stadium earlier this year, sending fans into a spiral over whether or not they were really dating. But according to her, they were already boyfriend and girlfriend by the time that she went to the game. She said, this all started when Travis very adorably put me on blast on his podcast, which I thought was metal as hell. We started hanging out right after that, so we actually had a significant amount of time that no one knew, which I'm grateful for because we got to get to know each other. So by the time I went to that first game, we were a couple. She went on to say, I think some people think that they saw our first date at that game. We would never be psychotic enough to hard launch a first date. But as beloved as her relationship with Kelce already is, there have been some grumblings from football fans who think the NFL is focusing on her way too much. And in response to that, she said, I don't know how they know what suite I'm in. There's a camera like a half a mile away and you don't know where it is. And you have no idea when the camera is put on you in the broadcast. So I don't know if I'm being shown 17 times or once. She said that she's just there to support Travis and she has no awareness if she's being shown too much and upsetting a few dads, Brads, and Chads. So Taylor is very well aware of the general surprise that people have shown in response to the public nature of her relationship, especially in comparison to her last long-term romance. In the past few months alone, her and Travis have probably been seen together more times than her and her ex-boyfriend Joe Alwyn ever were over the course of their 6-year relationship. But according to Taylor, there is a really good reason for that. She said, when you say a relationship is public, that means I'm going to go see him do what he loves. We're showing up for each other and other people are there and we don't care. The opposite of that is you have to go to an extreme amount of effort to make sure that no one knows you're seeing someone. And we're just proud of each other. She went on to explain that over the years, she's learned that she doesn't have the time or bandwidth to get pressed about things that don't matter. She said, yes, if I go to dinner, there's going to be a whole chaotic situation outside the restaurant, but I still want to go to dinner with my friends. Life is short, have adventures. Me locking myself away in my house for a lot of years, I'll never get that time back. I'm more trusting now than I was 6 years ago. So that sounds like a great motto to live by, but it is tough to ignore just how different her relationship is from her old one. In comparison to her longest romance with Joe Alwyn, the couple hardly ever came out into the spotlight, and Taylor herself spoke out many times about the importance of keeping her love life private in order to protect it. Over the years, the two of them had to deal with countless rumors that they had secretly gotten engaged and married on the down low, and this speculation reached new heights when Taylor was seen with a large ring on her finger in the documentary Miss Americana. With the release of Lover in 2019, this theory was absolutely everywhere. Joe eventually spoke out about it in an interview, and he said, if I had a pound for every time I think I've been told I've been engaged, then I'd have a lot of pound coins. I mean, the truth is, if the answer was yes, I wouldn't say. If the answer was no, I wouldn't say. For her part, Taylor addresses speculation in her song Lavender Haze. She said, because we live in the era of social media, if the world finds out that you're in love with somebody, they're going to weigh in on it. She explained that she and Joe have had to dodge weird rumors, tabloid stuff, and they just ignore it. So Lavender Haze is about the act of ignoring that stuff to protect the real thing. But despite all of that, she has clearly had the chance to grow and change her mind on the way she feels about publicity. Because she is right. At the end of the day, all of us only have so much time in our lives, and spending all this time hiding from the world is not the best way to spend it. One thing's for sure though, Taylor has had an amazing year. In 2023 alone, she scored 2 #1 hits on the Billboard Hot 100, released 2 Taylor's version re-records, launched her enormously successful Eras tour, premiered her record-breaking concert film in theaters, and picked up 6 Grammy nominations. She also closed out the year with an estimated net worth of $1.1 billion, with Forbes projecting that she had accumulated $500 million from royalties and touring, $500 million from her music catalog, and around $120 million in real estate. She's also 2023's top global artist for both Spotify and Apple Music, as well as Billboard's top artist of the year. And on a social level, she is arguably the most popular that she has ever been. Her high-profile romance with Travis Kelce propelled her cultural exposure into unprecedented heights. And of course, it is clearly making her very, very happy, and that's the main thing.
Coming at number 10 today, we have Howard Stern. Howard Stern is not holding anything back when it comes to his opinion on the Sussexes, especially when it comes to Prince Harry. When the 68-year-old radio personality spoke out about Prince Harry and Meghan Markle's new Netflix docuseries, Harry and Meghan, during an episode of his Sirius XM show, he would say, "It's been painful. I wouldn't stay with it, but my wife, Beth Stern, wants to watch it, so you know, we have shows we watch, but they come off like such whiny bees." Howard would then go on to say, "I gotta tell you, man, I just don't get it, and honestly, I think we're just as confused as Howard, as the whole film was just old stories they have said in every single interview with no proof to back up their claims." While Howard did feel bad for Harry because he did lose his mother, Princess Diana, at such a young age, he definitely is not a big fan on how Meghan and Harry have gone about to tell their story on how things all went wrong and why they have chosen to walk away from their royal duties. Stern would also go on to say, "When those two start whining about wah, they don't like me, and she wants to be beloved in this country, but man, oh man, you know, it's just very weird to watch two people who keep screaming, we want our privacy, we wanted the press to leave us alone, and what is their special they put on Netflix showing you them and their kids and their life? It's like the Kardashians, except boring." Number 9, Piers Morgan. Piers Morgan has made his feelings very clear on Prince Harry's latest tell-all interviews, calling them delusional, paranoid, and pathetic. This would come after Harry spoke with ITV, Tom Bradby, and CNN's Anderson Cooper on Sunday night about the revelations in his new autobiography, Spare. The book, officially launched on Tuesday, would reveal a number of revelations, like the time William and Harry had a confrontation over Meghan, and William pushed Harry to the ground. When Harry sat down with ITV on Sunday after the interview, Piers was definitely not impressed, and he would head to Twitter to say, "Never seen an unhappier happy man in my life. Prince Harry's bitter, delusional, paranoid, family trashing, half-wit exposing and exploiting the royals' most personal secrets for gazillions, while it's wanging on with jaw-dropping hypocrisy about media intrusion. He's pathetic." With Harry speaking to Bradby about his current relationship with the royal family in his upcoming book release, when he was asked whether he was looking back too much, Harry would say, "We always knew that these two projects, both the Netflix documentary and the book, one being our story and one very much being my story, they were look-back projects, and I'm sure once Piers finishes reading his book, he's only gonna have a lot more to say about Harry's story." Hey my little peaches, are you liking this video so far? If so, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Coming at number 8, we have Dan Wooten. Dan Wooten has had enough of Harry's deranged campaign against media devils in the royals, as he believed Harry is trying to destroy Charles, Camilla, and William over leaks and briefings. In a column posted to the Daily Mail, Dan would say that the fairy tale goes that this selfish couple were forced to smash relations with the British royal relatives and flee the country because of a vicious briefing campaign launched against them, even seeing the press conspire with the institution and senior members of the royal family to drive out such a popular pair, and that the narrative was actually really deranged. Dan would also go on to note that the story was invented and designed by sniveling Harry and fake Meghan to avoid taking any of their own behavior, including credible claims of bullying against staff by the American diva. At the end of the article, Dan would then note that enough is enough, and it's time for the woke media to stop giving the Duke of Sussex an easy ride and realize that the damage he is causing to democracy with his falsehoods, distortion, and deranged attacks designed to cause further damage to freedom of the press in Britain. Number 7, Candace Owens. Candace Owens has finally entered the chat, and it was kinda shocking to see what she had to say about the revelations in Prince Harry's new memoir, Spare. The controversial political commentator decided to weigh in on Harry's new memoir, in which the Duke of Sussex has made some major bombshell remarks about the tension between him and the British royal family. On Sunday, after Harry's interview with ITV, Candace would head to her Instagram account to say, Meghan putting pregnancy tests next to locks of Prince Diana's hair, plus asking for private moments at Diana's gravesite to speak to her, are not things to laugh at. Instead of laughing, Candace would call Meghan's behavior terrifyingly psychopathic and manipulative actions. Candace would then go on to conclude that Meghan is dangerous before noting through a hashtag that the Duke of Sussex has gone mad. Candace was referring to Harry's claim in the book that he and his brother Prince William each have a lock of their mother's hair, which is cut from her head by her sister shortly after her passing. Number 6. Jason Williamson. Jason Williamson has gone the extra mile when it came to showing his dislike of Prince Harry when he wrote a scathing open letter that was published in Britain's most left-wing newspaper. When Jason decided to vent after learning that Harry was due to visit Nottingham, hometown, alongside of Meghan Markle for their first joint official engagement, the pair headed to the city to witness various charity initiatives in action. But it seems fair to say that Williamson wasn't feeling particularly charitable in his response. The outspoken frontman described Harry's engagement to Meghan in The Guardian as being heinously over-publicized and continued to bring up dark tendencies of Harry's ancestors and referred to him and his family as both being psychopaths and monsters. He would then conclude, "We are apologists, never-ending apologists, who will gush at Harry's perceived interest in the youth program he is currently involved with in the St. Anne's area. He doesn't give a toss about those people. This only serves to strengthen his family's position as relevant and merciful." He would then proceed to say, "Go home, Rambo. Nottingham doesn't need you." Number 5. Christy Allsopp. Location presenter Christy Allsopp took to Twitter on Sunday to slam both Prince Harry and Meghan Markle. Following Harry's latest interview with ITV, the Duke of Sussex defended his explosive new memoir, Spare, during a talk with presenter Tom Bradby at his California home. After watching the interview, Christy would be left feeling entirely unimpressed with how Prince Harry came across and questioned his true intentions behind releasing the book. And she would say, "So they're in bed with the devil, but Harry's just chatting to Tom Bradby on primetime ITV for what?" Soon after her first initial tweet, she would then tweet, "What work? Your book? This interview? It isn't about service or charity. This is about you. Sick." And let's be honest, Harry and Meghan have briefed again. Number 4. Sharon Osborne. Talk TV host Sharon Osborne and her panel discussed clips from the Duke of Sussex explosive television interviews, which were broadcasted on CBS and ITV on Sunday. During the debate, Sharon noted that Prince Harry and Meghan Markle's young children will grow up with no family on either parent's side. The 70-year-old then branded the situation as being ugly and very sad. During Tuesday's installment of her Talk TV show, Sharon claimed that the younger generation still supports Harry and Meghan's decision to start a new life in California. However, she added, older generations have definitely had it up to here with all the whining, and it's definitely just younger kids that still support them. She would then also remind the panel how all families argue and tell views, as it's normal to row with loved ones. Which is the truth. I have 5 siblings, and I know times get tough, but I would never air out our rows for the whole world to see, because that just seems a little bit childish, especially when you're trying to claim you want your family back in your life. Sharon would then note that the children will now be forced to grow up with no family, and it's just a terrible thing for any child to go through. Number 3. Kathy Griffin. Kathy Griffin was not impressed by how Prince Harry and Meghan Markle met, and even compared the royal to the controversial actor Armie Hammer. Kathy went on to say, "They met on freaking Instagram. Prince Harry was flipping through his Instagram, looking at hot brunettes like every other guy in LA. I'm disappointed. I thought it was going to be a great love story. Prince Harry is like Armie freaking Hammer. What if Prince Harry's the new House of Hammer?" With Armie recently being accused of sending some woman some pretty disturbing DMs, Kathy would go on to tease that her favorite thing would be comparing Harry to the disgraced actor, and she was seemingly only referring to the way he met Meghan and not the disturbing allegations that were made about Army. Kathy would also go on to note that Meghan and Harry both keep acting like they can do so much good for the world, which is great and inspirational, but when's the last time a royal did anything that helped the world? And I'm honestly stumped when it comes to answering that question, but if you can answer it, let us know in the comments below. Number 2, Bethany Frankle. Bethany Frankle, an outspoken critic of Prince Harry and Meghan, explained why she is so obsessed with the Duke and Duchess of Sussex by saying it was because of a greater meaning. Bethany would go on to explain that she feels Harry's bombshell memoir, Spare, in which he drags his royal family members, did more harm than good for him and his wife. Bethany would go on to say, to scorch the earth and burn the bridges and handle a situation in such reckless, outrageous manner doesn't achieve the results. The royal family is more popular than they were before you started the circus. Bethany would then go on to suggest that even if Harry was trying to highlight greater issues like racism and mental health struggles, he failed to make real change because the public is too focused on the drama of all of it. By saying the focus is on this whole massive charade versus the actual issues, versus anyone talking about actual racism in society as it pertains to this matter, or the mental health of it, of the sibling rivalry, or the relentlessness of the paparazzi, and in life and business. I've learned that you don't take every single opportunity to scorch and torch the joint. While Bethany would then go on to slam the prince, she would also offer some sound advice when she said, you might be able to get further by playing chess and not checkers. While I've worked with many different people in my career, there have been issues that I would like to change. Instead of scorching the earth because I was scorned, I handled them professionally, and this is so much more important because this is about someone's family. And coming in at number 1 today, we have Paul Burrell. Paul Burrell hit back at the criticism from Prince Harry by saying he doesn't recognize the young man he sees today. In Harry's controversial memoir Spare, the Duke of Sussex said Diana's former butler was milking her passing for money when he publicized his 2001 book A Royal Duty, which contained a raft of private revelations. But appearing on Australian breakfast show Sunrise, Paul would say, I first met him in his mummy's tummy. I don't recognize the young man I see today. That's not the boy I knew. What I see now is an angry, petulant, privileged prince who is consistently blaming other people and not taking accountability for his own part. Speaking from his home in Florida, Paul would then go on to know that the Duke has changed fundamentally and that his mother would be appalled. She would be angry at these personal, vindictive revelations, which don't just undermine Harry but his country, his family, and the institution, which his mother was very proud of, and his late grandmother's legacy. Paul then went on to blame Harry's wife Meghan for the Duke's vindictive behavior, claiming she was the one driving him behind the scenes.
At number 10 is Trisha Paytas. Paytas, also known for her YouTube handle Blonde Sundoll for MJ, has been on the YouTube platform for 16 years, making appearances on Celebrity Big Brother and in multiple films, as well as being in the adult entertainment industry. Paytas is widely known for her chaotic and messy videos, at one point identifying as a chicken nugget and claiming her unborn child was the reincarnation of Queen Elizabeth. Paytas and Ballinger have a modest history, being described as friendly and having worked together in a few creative projects. As Colleen's past behavior came to light, it also came out that Ballinger had watched and made fun of Paytas' X-rated content with young fans. Although Paytas has taken a step back from addressing everything people say about her on the internet, she felt that this situation warranted comment, and the video she posted about it was a shift from her usual tone, prompting Twitter user Matt Martin on Twitter to write, "You know you've messed up big time when Trisha Paytas is the voice of calm and reason in the situation." In a YouTube video posted to Paytas' channel called Colleen Ballinger, she mentions that she had no idea about Ballinger's behavior and holds a very firm stance against speaking to anyone underage, platonic or otherwise, due to her own trauma of being taken advantage of when she was younger. Trish also says that if she had been aware, she would have never collaborated with her creatively or pursued a friendship. Trish goes on to say that although she believes people can grow from their past, Colleen had obviously not taken the correct steps to do so, as she failed to even acknowledge what she was growing from in her apology video. Trish's main point in the video was pertained to information brought to her from two of Colleen's former fans, who told her that Colleen often hosted watch parties with underage people to view Trish's X-rated content and sometimes sent unwanted images directly to fans. Not only was Colleen discussing inappropriate content with minors, she also did so through body shaming and ridiculing Trish, whom she considered a friend and was trusted by at the time. Trish felt the need to nip this in the bud quickly and seriously, seriously, as she does not condone such behavior, as it is a crime to share such content with minors. People on Twitter have been respecting Trish for being extremely steady and focused, understanding the heart of the matter, and explaining her feelings of betrayal quite eloquently. At number 9 is Howie Mandel. Mandel, the American Idol host and stand-up comedian, spoke out about Colleen in the most suitable way possible. A joke. He posted a video on TikTok with the caption, #sorry, #music, #singing. How more perfectly could we sum up the situation, truly. The TikTok pictured Howie with an acoustic guitar beginning the video the same way Colleen did. They told me not to say this, but nobody said not to sing this. And continues the video by singing his apology for posting a video of a prolapse on his TikTok seemingly unknowingly. Because in the song he claims to have not known what that is. Personally, I think Howie's apology was a lot more sincere, maybe because a sung-through apology would have been more appropriate for posting something kind of gross than manipulating young fans. At number 8 is Adam McIntyre. A pioneer in speaking out about Colleen Ballinger, former fan Adam McIntyre has served as a primary source to her exploitation and misconduct, and thus has developed quite a bit of newfound notoriety after coming forward with Colleen's past. After her bizarre apology, Adam took to YouTube, posting a video aptly named Colleen Ballinger Responded, which she most certainly did. The description of the video parrots a tweet he posted a few days ago that read, "As much as Colleen discredited and made fun of me, I'm glad her video did one thing, show you all exactly the type of evil woman she is. That a lot of us have experienced over the past few years behind the scenes, the mask has slipped, everyone meet the real Colleen Ballinger." The video posted is a recording of a live stream, as Adam says he couldn't stand watching Colleen call him a liar alone and would rather do it with his family of viewers. In this live stream he voices his disbelief of what the apology exactly was. He is obviously torn up about the fact that she couldn't even give him and other fans that were mistreated by her a private apology, even after revealing that he told her he'd stop talking publicly about the controversy if he were to receive one, or even the favor of respecting their concerns. Instead, Ballinger decided to completely refuse to respond to anything that was said, which left Adam visibly and unsurprisingly stunned throughout the live stream. Coming in at number 7 is Jeffree Star. The beauty guru, YouTube vlogger, and former singer's past is absolutely not scot-free. In fact, his entire career up to this point barely leans towards his successful makeup brand, but instead has been built upon controversies of being ableist, racist, alongside his own allegations of assault. And these instances barely scratch the surface of what Star has been capable of doing in his 16-year career. But I guess this gives him jurisdiction to call out Colleen's behavior, because he sure is well versed in being problematic. On a TikTok livestream with fellow YouTubers Rich Lux and Eugenia Cooney, he discussed Ballinger's presence online. Although he says he doesn't read drama online anymore, he felt the need to say that he never met her, never followed her, and never gave a damn about her. He added that he is horrified and shocked by the things he's seen about her, mentioning that she is a sick person, reiterating again that he is not a fan. Nothing we haven't already heard, but I'm glad we now have Jeffree's take on the situation. At number 6 we have H3H3's own Ethan Klein. The podcast host, clothing brand entrepreneur, and YouTube vlogger offered a snide comparison between Colleen and another nefarious YouTuber. Although Klein just went public with his decision to go on a 3-week hiatus, which some have speculated to be the reason why Colleen decided to post her apology when she did, he couldn't help himself from saying something. So I guess her effort not to receive his reaction was in vain. In a quote tweet replying to Pop Crave, which is Colleen's now infamous quote, "The only thing I've ever groomed is my 2 Persian cats," which is in context to the grooming allegations, a really stupid joke, Ethan replied with a picture of the already cancelled YouTuber Shane Dawson and his cat Cheeto. The Shane Dawson cat situation was one that takes Colleen's quote pretty literally, and I won't get into specifics, but Shane sure did in a 2015 podcast where he reveals that he did some pretty messed up stuff to his cat when he was 19. The audio from the podcast resurfaced a few years later, which caused people to, unsurprisingly, start questioning Shane about his past actions, to which he replied with a 4-part Twitter thread disputing that his words were simply a joke. In our number 5 spot we have YouTuber and musician Emma Blackery. Blackery took the YouTube trending page by storm in 2013 when she released her ukulele track entitled My Thoughts on Google+, with a pretty catchy tune alongside a state of mind most people agreed with after Google bought and changed the YouTube interface for the worse. Blackery took the opportunity of seeing her fellow YouTuber partake in a ukulele rant, but one which was far less well received or agreed with than her own. In Emma's comparison to Ballinger's, she writes on Twitter, "Can't all nail it, I guess." And I haven't heard from Emma in years, and seeing her grace my Twitter timeline with a banger like this was absolutely lovely. Her new single, Cry to Your Mother, is out now, and you can stream it on any streaming service. Coming in at number 4 is Curtis Connor, the stand-up comic and YouTuber best known for his movie reviews and commentary videos, sent out a tweet the other day that read, "Damn, I predicted the Colleen Ballinger apology video 3 years ago," alongside a video of a sketch where someone responds to a video entitled Please Forgive Me, where the person apologizing begins by saying sorry, but then whips out a sweet electric guitar. It's crazy how art mirrors reality. It really raises the bizarreness levels of Colleen's apology when you read it through the lens of what someone thought to be a satire of an apology, something that no one should ever do, but I think that saying Colleen Ballinger made a satire of herself and her career is pretty reasonable given the situation. This isn't the only mention Curtis decided to make about Colleen. On an episode of his podcast Very Really Good, he mentioned that he had a commentary video script written about Colleen Ballinger and Miranda Sings and her strange and inappropriate content. Unfortunately, this video was scrapped soon after it was conceived, since Colleen caught wind of it and shut it down. It's rumored that she did this in order to maintain her reputation and popularity, as she was on tour at the time and still viewed in a pretty positive light. I hope that Curtis decides to post a video about Colleen now, however, since the new information brought to light would be entertaining with a Connor spin on it. At number 3 is a tweet from YouTuber Eddie Burback. Known for his commentary videos and Rainforest Cafe reviews, Eddie Burback decided to take to Twitter to air a few thoughts on Colleen's behavior. The man says in response to the apology, "I can't stop thinking about the fact that she had to sit down and make the apology rhyme," which is in context to the fact that her apology was almost spoken word poetry with a backing track. The fact that Colleen, instead of, addressing her allegations promptly and seriously, or perhaps sending private apologies to the fans that spoke out against her, decided to run with some Dr. Seuss mischief. Eddie also tweeted that the next YouTuber to do something awful should play the trombone to top this, which, listen, at this point, celebrity apology videos are becoming a bit boring and mundane. I think soon, YouTubers may have to start one-upping each other in order to get views, with things like talent instead of tears. Our runner-up is Colleen Ballinger's ex-husband Joshua Evans. Lead vocalist of the band The Cat's Pajamas and YouTube personality, Josh Evans was married to Ballinger from 2015 to 2016. Within that year, the duo posted many videos together, including one called "My Wife Put Her Hand Down My Pants," which is pretty self-explanatory. The video depicts Ballinger supposedly putting his hand down his pants while he tells her to stop and is visibly uncomfortable. The situation is incredibly disconcerting considering the allegations that have just come to light. Josh has come forward with other issues in their relationship and Colleen's blatant lack of respect for his consent, and Ballinger herself admitted to making her ex-husband uncomfortable, including touching his butt simply because he doesn't want her to. Josh offered a first-hand experience of who Colleen truly is after the backlash and her subsequent anti-apology, tweeting, "This behavior was my reality anytime I spoke up and disagreed with her actions and rhetoric during 2009 to 2016. I was gaslit too. I was made to feel like I was always the problem. Any pain I felt was an inconvenience and was belittled. Every ounce of what you're feeling, I understand." I'm really glad he's decided to come forward with this and feel as though he does not have to keep this a secret any longer. And coming in at our number 1 spot is Mr. Beast, the most popular creator on the YouTube platform, creating videos that center wacky challenges while flaunting and curing blindness, has unsurprisingly offered his insight towards the disgraced Colleen Ballinger. Although the two have never met, he felt it was needed for him to come public with his opinion of the comedian, as the two both cater to a younger audience. Beast says that Colleen and her channel had always been filled with toxic content that was not suitable for children, as it was simply bogging down the minds of the youth. He followed this up by saying that his content was on an entirely different side of the spectrum than his own, as his videos didn't feature subliminally adult themes and messaging and instead just focused on lighthearted topics, extravagance, and pure entertainment.
Starting off our list today in the number 10 spot, we have Miley Cyrus. Miley Cyrus has finally broken her silence on Hailey Bieber in her unhealthy obsession with Selena Gomez. And with it, she's pretty much explained why she's never trusted Hailey even though they've been friends since childhood. It seems like Miley has finally had enough of Hailey making fun of her best friend Selena, and she is exposing Hailey for how awful she really is. In an interview, Miley would note that she just can't stand the victimizing anymore and all the stories that are coming with it. Miley has wasted no time when it comes to blasting Hailey and her friend Kendall Jenner, to the point when Miley ran into Kendall backstage of a Versace fashion show, she got into a confrontation with Kendall, and the confrontation reportedly got so heated that Kendall began to cry hysterically, and some eyewitnesses also claim that Miley told Kendall to tell both Hailey and Kylie to get ready because she was coming for them too. And if I were them, I'd probably be running for the hills right now, because to be on Miley's bad side right now is actually such a scary thought to think about. Number 9. Taylor Swift. I think we can all agree that we adore Taylor Swift's and Selena Gomez's friendship, as through thick and thin, these girls are always with each other and they always have each other's back. With a lot of girls portraying both girls for clout, they have come to the conclusion that they only have each other, and at the end of the day, that's why we see them always standing up for each other. In one quick move, it appears as Taylor Swift is finally unfollowing Hailey on Instagram because of all the things happening. With both Taylor and Selena not taking any of the diss videos so seriously, we all know they're contacting each other and talking about how these girls are all acting ridiculous. And with it, Taylor has come out to slam Hailey for fat shaming Selena Gomez by pointing out that Hailey is just insecure about Selena and Justin's relationship, and that's why she's acting out with such a mean girl persona. Number 8. Selena Gomez. Despite Selena dealing with unnecessary commentary about her body, despite her fluctuating weight because of it being a byproduct of her ongoing battle with lupus, when Hailey decided to throw the white flag away and diss Selena Gomez one last time by uploading a TikTok video of herself lip syncing along with her friends to an audio clip of someone saying, "I'm not saying she deserved it, but God's timing is always right." Fans were quick to assume that the shady post was about Selena being body shamed for a bikini pic that made headlines around the same time. And when Hailey went on to delete the video, just proved that all of our speculation was right. right. When fans started to beg Selena to tell the star off and her friends for bullying her, Selena commented back by saying it was okay because she didn't let these sort of things get to her and get her down, before telling everyone they just needed to be nice to everyone. And then even after telling Hailey off, Hailey still went on to beg Selena to ask her friends and her fans to stop bullying her, and it proves that Selena is the type of person who will always take the high road even when she's treated wrongly. Hey my little peaches, are you liking this video so far? If so, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Coming at number 7, we have Jeffree Star. With Jeffree Star being the king when it comes to inputting himself in any celebrity drama, it was only a matter of time before we saw him take to his social media to spill his thoughts on where he stood when it came to Selena and Hailey's feud. And let me tell you, he definitely didn't disappoint us when he came out to throw some major shade Hailey's way. Jeffree definitely came out in full force to announce he was a Selena fan, and in the process, he decided to drag Hailey's skincare brand through the mud after he straight up threw the skincare products in a bin after he received the package following Paris Fashion Week. He then ate and left no breadcrumbs after he went on to say that there was no bullying allowed in his home when he went on to call Hailey Bieber a nepto baby who uses daddy's money. But he definitely forgot that her daddy no longer has money as he filed for bankruptcy and one of his houses foreclosed. So it means she's just using Justin Bieber's money. Number 6. Pia Mia. Pia Mia was one of the first celebrities within the Kardashian-Jenner circle to show her support towards Selena Gomez. Although she hasn't addressed the situation openly, her makeup videos with Selena Gomez's music in the background would do all the talking for the star. When Pia posted a Snapchat story of her doing makeup in the background, a Selena Gomez song could be heard, and to make matters even more iconic, Pia also went on to post another makeup routine using Selena's version of Calm Down in the background. And with it, a lot of people started to point out that she was throwing some major shade Hailey Bieber's way, because Hailey Bieber previously posted on her Instagram story with the version Calm Down in the background without Selena's feature. Pia Mia then went on to post a song of her singing Taylor Swift's Bejeweled, and everyone kinda lost it, as Pia Mia actually used to be really good friends with both Hailey and Kylie, and then earlier this year Kylie kinda tossed her out of their group, and Pia took to her TikTok video to say even if they're your friends and you're friends with someone for years, you actually think that friendship is real. The second they think you're not good enough, famous enough, or make enough money, you're cut from the group. Number 5. Jordyn Woods. Just after the whole Pia Mia saga, we were so invested into our screens trying to figure out what other celebrities part of the Kardashian-Jenner circle, or celebrities that used to be a part of their close circle, would come out to call Hailey out or throw some shade the star's way. And with it, we all saw Jordyn Woods enter into the chat, and when we did, we lost our mind. With the Kardashian family embarrassing Jordyn Woods to a T when they over-exaggerated on the whole Jordyn Woods hooking up with Tristan Thompson story, it honestly wasn't really surprising that Jordyn would come out to choose Selena's side during this messy feud. And when she came out to show her support by posting a Snapchat video where the Instagram influencer could be seen applying a lip liner and saying she loved it, that lip liner actually happened to be one of the products from Selena's cosmetic collection. Number 4. Justin Bieber. You would think because Justin is married to Hailey Bieber that he would be taking her side through all of this mess, but it seems like Justin is letting his wife dig herself out of her own hole, and with it a lot of rumors are trickling down the grapevine, and it seems like there's trouble in paradise as Justin is completely upset with Hailey's actions, especially after he begged the star not to be friends with Selena in the first place, you know, when they waved their white flag a couple months ago, as he knew something like this was going to happen. And with Justin's sisters and mother also seemingly taking Selena's side, it makes you wonder what kind of conversations the family is going to have during Easter dinner, or if Hailey is going to be invited to the Bieber family outings going forward. What makes things even more interesting is that apparently Justin even sent Selena flowers back in 2022 for the SAG Awards, and after that, this is when we saw Hailey start to post sneak diss videos, and we only just realized after the Jenner sisters jumped into all of the fun. Oh, to be a fly on the wall in the family Bieber group chat. Number 3. Lady Gaga. Leave it to Lady Gaga to prove that she's just as beautiful on the inside as she is on the outside. Lady Gaga being one of many celebrities that has come out to support Selena Gomez in her TikTok video where Selena showed that she accidentally over-laminated her eyebrows when Selena went on to compare herself to Bella Hadid, saying she wished she was as beautiful as the model, just in the height of Hailey Bieber and Kylie Jenner making fun of the model by posting photos of their eyebrows. Just as Selena was pleading for everyone to stay kind, before she deleted her social media accounts to take a break, Lady Gaga would jump into the drama by choosing Selena's side, and in the process she would even show the singer her love and support by telling Selena, "You look and you are beautiful inside and out, and one of my favorite ladies alive." And just like that, it would remind Selena that she can't help the fact that she was born this way and that she deserves nothing but happiness, love, and support. Number 2. Jennifer Stone. It's not really shocking to see Jennifer Stone come out to support Selena through all of this mess, as let's face it, they were on Wizards of Waverly Place together, and in the show Jennifer played Selena's best friend, and with her support it would go on to show that Harper and Alex were just as good friends on the show as Selena and Jennifer are good friends off the show. And in a 6-second TikTok video posted to Jennifer's account, Jennifer would lip sync over an audio that was originally said by actress Jamie Lee Curtis telling people to keep their mouths shut. In the video we would see Jennifer lip sync over Jamie's words when she said, "People should shut the F up, back the F off, and let this woman shine her light." And if the post couldn't get any more iconic, Jennifer even went on to caption her post by saying, "When people try to mess with my people," and it included various hashtags like hashtag back off. So think about that next time you want to mess with one of Jennifer Stone's friends. And coming in at number 1 today we have Patty, aka Justin's mom. So when Patty, aka Justin's mom, entered into all of the drama, let me tell you, her input has been a bit murky at best, but it's clear that out of everyone's side, she is clearly supporting Selena Gomez's. And in the process, it probably has Hailey Bieber icing her burn. So when fans started calling out Justin's mom for apparently liking and unliking a tweet from Popface, where in it Selena would announce that she would be taking a break from her TikTok account after the whole eyebrow and Hailey Bieber situation, Patty would then head over to her Twitter account to say, "Hate is ugly, don't be ugly." And she did it without any context or tags, but if you take my opinion, I genuinely believe out of all this takeaway, she was supporting her son's long-term ex. And maybe that's because she believes Justin always should have ended up with her, but who knows.
Number 10. Britney Spears. After appearing on Carpool Karaoke with James Corden, Britney confessed that it was not as fun as it seemed. In fact, she claimed that it was extremely awkward. Apparently, James was being manipulative towards her because she specifically asked him not to play Hit Me Baby One More Time, which he ended up doing multiple times. He even wore a costume that was exactly like the one from the music video. Of course, Britney did her best to play along, but it turns out that she was a little uncomfortable with everything that was happening in the car. While speaking to a radio station about the experience, she said, "It was a little awkward, like driving by grocery stores. People walk by and there are like 18 cameras around us. This is just so awkward." Carpool Karaoke was one of the most popular segments of the show, but James ended up getting a lot of backlash when people found out that he wasn't actually driving. In January of 2020, one fan spotted him filming an episode with Justin Bieber, and he posted the video to Twitter. Rather than being on the road, James's black SUV was being towed by a tow truck and he was pretending to drive it. This called the whole show into question. The fact that it might have been staged made it seem artificial, and it took a lot of the fun out of it. Number 9. Patrick Stewart. A clip from the 2010 Glamour Awards has resurfaced recently, and it shows Patrick Stewart obliterating James Corden on stage. It's the definition of public humiliation. The two of them were presenting an award together when Stewart suddenly decided to call him out for his disinterested attitude towards the ceremony. He said, "When the presenters are up here and when the recipients are receiving their awards, don't stand at the back of the stage with your hands in your pockets, looking around as though you wished you were anywhere but here." At that moment, James was super caught off guard, and so was everyone else in the audience. He was obviously embarrassed, and so he shot back with a remark. He said, "If I looked like that, that, I'm so sorry. But when you come up and present an award, just effing get on with it. Both of them should have moved on from there, but it somehow got even cringier when Stewart decided to make fun of Corden's weight. He said, "From where I was sitting, I can see your belly, and that was over there at the back of the room." The spat continued back and forth for a few minutes, but it was just so uncomfortable to watch, it felt more like hours. Number 8. Bill Maher. This late night feud started in 2019 when Bill used a segment of his show to discuss high obesity rates in the US. He felt that the solution was to bring back fat shaming because in his opinion, shame is the first step in reform. A few days later, James hit back at his remarks on the Late Late Show. He said, "So I was sat at home and I'm watching this and all I could think of was like, oh man, someone needs to say something about this. If only there was someone with a platform who knew what it was actually like to be overweight. And then I realized, oh, that will be me." James reminded him that fat shaming was still alive and well and said there's a common and insulting misconception that fat people are stupid and lazy, and they're not. After being called out, Bill went on the Joe Rogan podcast and doubled down on his comments about obesity being a health issue. He said, "You can't keep eating as much as you want and as much stuff as you want and expect us to cover the bill." He also felt that James had missed a great opportunity to literally save lives and said that he took the easy way out by criticizing him instead of talking about solutions. Number 7. Ricky Gervais. On the surface, these two comedians have a lot in common. They both became famous on British TV shows in the 2000s before jumping to movies and eventually making their way to Hollywood. But instead of friendship, they actually had something that was closer to a nasty rivalry. This started when James played Ricky in a comedy sketch. In the years since, Ricky has publicly teased and criticized him on multiple occasions at almost every opportunity. For example, after he bombed with the Weinstein jokes at a charity gala, Ricky went on Radio Andy and claimed that his jokes fell flat because he didn't do it well enough. Basically saying, if you're going to be offensive, you have to at least be funny. Then at the 2020 Golden Globes, Ricky slammed his appearance in the movie musical Cats, which is more than fair considering that it completely bombed at the box office. Most people found the CGI human cats a little sickening to look at, so it's no surprise that it performed so badly. In fact, critics have long accused James Corden of ruining every movie that he gets involved in. This list includes some major flops, like 2021's Cinderella, Lesbian Vampire Slayers, and the Emoji Movie. He also came under fire for exploiting gay stereotypes with his character in The Prom, so he might need to consider taking a break from acting as well. Number 6. Mel B. The Spice Girls singer labeled James Corden as one of the biggest D-heads in show business. She went on the Big Nasty Show and was asked about the rudest celebrity that she's ever met. In response, she came up with a short list that included the host of The Late Late Show. Mel explained that the older she gets, the less tolerance she has for annoying people. She was then asked why she specifically named James Corden. She said, "I think you always have to be nice to the people that you work with, whether it be production, camera guys, sound, lighting, we all work for the same thing. So you should always be nice, and he hasn't been very nice." Around the time of this interview, other videos started circulating online. One of them was a video from 2016 when Jimmy Kimmel asked James to name 2 of the cameramen in the room. In response, he just starts laughing because it was obvious that he couldn't do it. The whole thing was pretty awkward to watch. But the craziest part is that it happened again 1 year later. During a Q&A segment with his audience, one of the crowd members asked James if he could once again name a cameraman, and he failed. Number 5. Keith McNally. Back in October, the owner of a high-end New York City restaurant called Balthazar made a viral Instagram post blasting James Corden for his horrible behavior towards staff. He called him a tiny cretin of a man and the worst customer to his servers since the restaurant opened 25 years ago. He claimed that in one instance, James demanded 2 free rounds of drinks for him and his friends after he presented a hair that was supposedly found on his food. He said, "Get us another round of drinks this second. Also, take care of all our drinks so far. This way I won't write any nasty reviews on Yelp." So he basically threatened to ruin the restaurant's reputation with his fame and influence. On another occasion, he is said to have flipped out when an egg yolk omelet that his wife had ordered was found to have a little egg white in it. He allegedly went ballistic. According to the owner, James was so awful that he felt compelled to out him publicly and ban him from the restaurant, something that is very rarely done in high-end establishments. Amidst a growing controversy, James eventually addressed the incident on The Late Late Show, but he never fully took responsibility for his behavior. Number 4. Rose McGowan. In 2017, during the dawn of the Me Too movement, James made a series of tasteless jokes about a certain disgraced film producer and notorious Hollywood creep. While presenting at a gala charity event, he brought up the scandal that had just come out that very same week. He said, "Tonight is such a beautiful night in LA. So beautiful, Harvey has already asked to night up to his hotel to give him a massage. At this point, you could already hear the loud groans from the audience, but James just kept on going. He said, "It has been a weird week this week, hasn't it? Watching Harvey in hot water? Ask any of the women who watched him take a bath." By the time James was finished with the joke, it was pretty clear that he failed to read the room. It was just way too early to be making fun of something like that. And two of the women who accused Harvey ended up calling him out on Twitter. Actress Asia Argentino wrote, "Shame on this pig and everyone who grunted with him." And Rose McGowan also came through with a similar criticism. It wasn't exactly subtle either. She called James a mother effing piglet, and he later apologized on Twitter, claiming that he was not trying to make light of the situation, but it didn't really win him back any fans. Number 3, Jack Allison. The TV writer who wrote for Jimmy Kimmel Live in the 2010s is also a member of the Writers Guild of America. In 2019, he told a shocking story on Twitter about the time that he went to a union meeting that James Corden was also attending. He wrote, "I'd like to state once again for the record that I went to a WGA meeting for only late night writers, and James Corden showed up without any of his staffers to advocate for a lower pay grade for late night writers." Jack explained that he was trying to frame it positively, like we want to give writers' assistants a chance, so maybe there should be a lower pay grade for them. But once he read the allegations, James fired back on Twitter. He pretty much denied everything that was said about him and wrote, "I would never ever want to pay a writer less than they deserve. Never. I love every writer on my show, and all I ever wanted from that meeting was to explore whether talented people could get a better opportunity." In response, Jack Allison doubled down and claimed that what he said was accurate. As if that wasn't bad enough, James was later accused of being extremely rude to production staff while filming a game show called A League of Their Own. Number 2, Pierce Brosnan. While hosting The Late Late Show, James played Spill Your Guts or Feel Your Guts with Khloe Kardashian. He was asked to name a celebrity who was rude to him, and after a lot of hesitation, he finally admitted to having a not so pleasant run-in with Pierce Brosnan. The story goes that he was at a U2 concert with his wife and some friends. His group was seated next to Brosnan and his party, who left in the middle of the show. They had a pretty good spot near the runway where Bono would often be seen. At this point, James didn't think that Pierce would be back anytime soon, so he and his wife decided to move into that area closer to the stage. But he felt an arm grab his shoulder and aggressively push him out of the way. Apparently, the actor didn't acknowledge the interaction at all and just went back to enjoying the concert. When he finished telling the story, Khloe suggested that perhaps he was drunk, to which James responded by saying, "Well, maybe he's just a bit effing rude." That moment was definitely an interesting one because James rarely names and shames people on TV, but it's possible that this interaction upset him so much that he didn't mind putting the actor on blast. Either way, that's one guest he won't ever be getting on his show. And coming in at number 1, Exposed on Reddit. In 2019, James wanted to surprise fans by making an appearance on Reddit's infamous Ask Me Anything thread, all to promote a special edition of his show. But the plan massively backfired when people started flooding the thread talking about all the horrible experiences that they've had meeting him in real life. In the end, James was only able to answer 3 questions before he dipped, probably because the truth was coming out about him and he was getting brutally roasted. One viral post said, "Hey James, you won't remember me, but me and my friends sat at a table next to you and Harry Styles, plus some others in Manchurian Legends in London's Chinatown about 6 years ago. We didn't bother you, but you were a massively entitled C-word who yelled and treated the waitstaff like crap. And when one of my party politely suggested you calm down, you got really aggressive and threatening." Now, if you thought that was bad, there was also another viral Reddit post made by a person who was traveling with James Corden on a London flight. Apparently, the entire plane witnessed his wife struggling to take care of their baby while James was sound asleep in the seat right next to her. In fact, he was so uninvolved that for a long time, people didn't even realize that they were together.
Coming in at number 10, the first celebrity will be Martin Short. Now, Martin Short, who was interviewed alongside whoever, isn't a recent call out. In fact, not many celebrities have negative things to say about Fallon currently amidst all the controversy. Rather, when they have had things to say to the man, they all tend to do it in the moment, as will be evident by many of the circumstances on this list. However, following the reports that Fallon allegedly created an ugly environment behind the scenes on The Tonight Show, a resurfaced clip of Martin Short calling him out for being fake started making the rounds on Twitter. And I gotta say, Martin went in, telling Jimmy, "This is the great show on television because there is no host in late night that pretends to care the way that you do." While Jimmy awkwardly laughs and thanks him, Martin continues to say, "I mean, no one captures phoniness the way you do. It's a gift." Steve Martin decided to chip in since he was the other guy at the interview, adding, "Yeah, when I'm at home watching the show, which is rare, I think for somebody who does a certain substance, your teeth look great." And because the two hadn't dug Jimmy enough, Short adds in the finishing touch of, "You prove that tall, handsome white men can make it in show business. You may be wondering, did Fallon prompt this roast in any way? Actually, no. The interview with the two men only makes it 45 seconds in before they start going off on him, which is why Jimmy kind of awkwardly sits there and takes it. Number 9 will be Tina Fey. Kind of. Again, she's not really calling him out, but similar to the Martin clip, an excerpt of her 2011 memoir Bossy Pants is going viral thanks to New Yorker editor Aaron Overby, who tweeted it alongside a caption that Fey had Fallon dead to rights. In what's described as one in a series of love letters to her best friend Amy Poehler in the book, Tina describes a situation for early in Amy's career on SNL, which started in early September of 2001. Amy and a team of writers were doing a read-through of an upcoming bit, shooting off ideas, and Amy, as Tina describes, was doing some nonsense with Seth Meyers and did something vulgar as a joke that was dirty, loud, and unladylike. Fallon, who as Faye mentioned was the star of the show at the time, took offense to it. Apparently trying to lighten up how he delivered his criticism, he decided to deliver it in a faux squeamish voice saying, "Stop that, it's not cute, I don't like it," some shit like that. Amy apparently picked up on the fact he was actually bothered under his attempt to be funny about the complaint, and Tina described that she stopped, went black in the eyes for a second, and responded, "I don't care if you like it." Fallon was then startled while Poehler went right back to enjoying a ridiculous bit. However, while this circulates, we should remember what isn't included in the viral tweet, that Tina openly stated Jimmy and Amy are very good friends and there was never any real beef between them. Here's a classic, however. Number 8 is Dakota Johnson. Hilarious. While Dakota Johnson has most notably appeared in 50 Shades of Grey, and that's about it, she is famous for firing back without fear at reality TV hosts and interviewers alike. She famously cut off Ellen, which pretty much broke the internet, but she also had an iconic interaction with Jimmy Fallon before that, when he kept interrupting her on The Tonight Show. Fallon has a bad habit of asking celebrities for stories, but then asking too many interruptive or distracting questions as they tell them, and sometimes the celebrity doesn't even get to finish the tale before Jimmy's questions push them into another. Dakota was trying to talk about how she's being sprayed by a skunk for the 6th time, which is weird as hell. I want to know what she's doing to skunks to make them hate her. But then Jimmy interrupts her for a final time, and in turn she interrupted him by asking, "Aren't you supposed to let people talk on this show?" Jimmy took a second to laugh and look kind of incredulous and a tad annoyed, responding, "If they know what they're talking about, yes! What the hell are you talking about?" While both he and Dakota laughed. Both parties brushed off the experience pretty well, despite how much trolling online it received, becoming a feature of memes and tweets globally. Number 7 is Blake Shelton, or as I call him, Gwen Stefani's husband. All I know about him is he makes country music, and I guess that's something Jimmy Fallon and I have in common, because it seems when it comes time to interview Shelton, Fallon kind of falls flat on how to approach him or what to ask. When Blake Shelton appeared on the show in 2017, he was not the most receptive to Fallon's humor. Jimmy Fallon jokingly made fun of Blake Shelton's southern accent and tossed in a few southern stereotype jabs in the mix. Nothing harsh or biased per se, but it definitely rubbed the country singer the wrong way. Instead of laughing along with the humor, Shelton was visibly annoyed. Kind of funny that the dude whose whole brand in music is built upon being southern can't take a good ribbon about it. In fact, Shelton didn't even laugh at Jimmy Fallon's jokes much. Finally, Jimmy Fallon started interviewing Blake Shelton properly, and Shelton replied in a dry, monotone voice, "Thank God," causing an awkward moment where even the live audience didn't know if they should laugh or acknowledge the quip. Their senses of humor just don't mesh. Number 6 is Rami Malek. So, the childhood crush of every nerdy, history-obsessed kid that watched Night at the Museum like a religion. Now, he's all grown up and dominating the screens in complicated dramas such as Mr. Robot or unreal biopics such as Bohemian Rhapsody. But let's not forget another time Rami dominated our screens. Rather, the phone ones. Tweets and memes hit the internet hard after a hilarious and awkward interaction occurred during the late night show interview between Fallon and Malek. Jimmy was expressing his adoration for the recent Rhapsody biopic and elatedly rambled to Rami that if I had your email or your phone number, I would have called you like a gazillion times, like, dude, you were unbelievable. Rami is kind of awkwardly leaned back in his chair and does like the darting gaze, sort of like awkwardly looking at Fallon, then the audience, then back at Fallon, and uncomfortably mentions, "You have my email and phone number." There's an uncomfortable beat in which Fallon, with his usual water off a duck's back routine, responds with, "That's true, I just decided not to call you, ha 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 ha," before awkwardly moving on. Number 5 is Shawn Mendes. The sassy Canadian singer was 18 when he first pulled what would sort of become like a short-term stunt of his whenever he was around Jimmy Fallon, which is telling a TV host that he's old. And not in any particular funny haha way, just kind of in an awkward fall flat kind of way. It started in 2016 when Mendes was gearing up to do a performance on the show. Jimmy messes up and gives him a late cue to start singing, leading to Mendes telling Jimmy his timing
timing's all wrong and this was all on you, while the two awkwardly laugh off the fail. As Jimmy's trying to continue, however, Mendes tosses in and "I told you I'm just not as old as you," eliciting laughs, woes, and ohs from the audience. Fallon himself laughs at the joke, especially when the band follows it with a or rim shot, and Jimmy manages to work with that first insult, replying, "Son, don't talk back to your father like that, don't talk back to your dad like that, go to your room right now." Mendes, however, doesn't take the cue to kind of back off and keep doing their actual bit that's planned, and awkwardly keeps rolling with his roast of the host. "It doesn't mean you don't look old, you're fine, you just are old, I'm just very young." It seemed to be the last of it, but only a few minutes later, when Fallon comments, "That is a hit song right there," in regards to Mendes singing of a tweet, he abruptly tells Fallon, again, no context, "You sound like my grandfather," which goes ignored and uncomfortable by the audience and Fallon. Number 4, John Oliver. Host versus host. There's never gonna be a winner. Oh, well, maybe there is, but who's to say? While interviewing John Oliver on the late night show, Fallon and he have one of their many awkward confrontations, wherein Fallon had been waxing poetic to Oliver, saying, "You know, last week tonight," which I still think is the best title of any show ever. Oliver, without missing a beat, interrupts and says, "The best title? Wow, that sounds like damning me with fake praise, Jimmy. I really love the title." It goes downhill once that's finished. I love how John Oliver's voice is so distinct, even as someone who doesn't watch him, I can literally hear him saying those words in my brain. It's hilarious, however, to see Jimmy pressured to tell the truth when he always plays it safe. This is one of many instances where Oliver has put Jimmy in this situation, such as the video call interview during COVID with Jimmy, wherein he kept asking the Alexa inappropriate questions for a public video, forcing Fallon to have to disable it, and essentially not give Amazon a free commercial of him and the other late night host. Number 3 is Roger Waters. For those who don't know but love to wear the t-shirts, Roger Waters is one of the Pink Floyd members, of whom Jimmy Fallon is a massive fan. Naturally, it made for an exciting opportunity to interview Roberts. However, Jimmy inevitably steered the topic towards former Syd Barrett, who left the band struggling with schizophrenia and mental wellness. This immediately triggered an emotional reaction from Waters, who took on a very serious tone when discussing Syd that implied no nonsense was to be made. However, Jimmy doesn't seem to pick up on the vibe, and he goes on to bring up a story where Barrett was in an episode and interrupted a Pink Floyd recording. Fallon chose to describe Syd insensitively, saying a bald man with a toothbrush in his mouth. Waters clears up that story, making sure to tell Fallon that his friend being consumed by addiction and mental illness wasn't a funny story, and that the entire situation was very sad. Number 2 is Jerry Seinfeld. I chose to put Seinfeld in here due to his vocal defense of Jimmy Fallon in the last few days, but also his acknowledgement that he defended others from him. So, for those who haven't read it yet, in the interviews recently given by current and former staffers of Jimmy Fallon, one recalled a story in which Seinfeld, the interviewee of the night, had seen Fallon being hard on one of his workers, scolding them for flubbing a simple task while they filmed. The anonymous whistleblowers claimed Seinfeld right then and there ordered Fallon to apologize to the worker, and that Fallon supposedly complied. Go Jerry Seinfeld, we love to see it. The anonymous former employee said that in interview, it was very awkward and Jerry was like, "You should apologize to him," almost trying to make it a joke. It was one of the strangest moments ever, and so many people were there, so it's kind of hard to forget. Rolling Stone claims Seinfeld's reps did not respond to multiple requests to comment before publishing the article, but once the story was published, Seinfeld sent them the following statement: "This is so stupid. I remember this moment quite well. I teased Jimmy about a flub and we all had a fun laugh about how rarely Jimmy is thrown off. It was not uncomfortable at all. Jimmy and I still occasionally recall it and laugh. Idiotic twisting of events." A source with knowledge of The Tonight Show also told the Post on Thursday that the Rolling Stones version of the Seinfeld story is inaccurate, which is now starting to cast some light on the debatable reality of these accusations. Number 1 is Joaquin Phoenix. Joaquin is famous for a multitude of reasons, from his late brother River Phoenix to his chaotic performances in films such as Her and Joker. But Joaquin also pulled a move on the late night show that made people with complicated names everywhere glow a little inside. When Jimmy Fallon tried to give Joaquin Phoenix a nickname, he wasn't having it. Fallon, with very little context, tells Joaquin, "I call you Wa." Then Joaquin was like, "Why?" Fallon laughs and says, "Well, your name's Joaquin, and I feel like that's too long for me." Joaquin, looking extremely unimpressed, replied without hesitation that "You can handle it. I feel like you can handle it. You do a monologue every night." Dude, let me say thank you, Joaquin, on behalf of myself and everyone out there with a unique or foreign name. It gets very old and very offensive when people don't try to pronounce it, would rather just assign you a nickname for their own comfort and convenience. People often describe the entirety of this interview, as well as the memory game instilled at the beginning as vague evidence towards Joaquin disliking Fallon as a whole, especially after this point in the interview where he remains cold, aloof, and distant with the man.
The first installment of Prince Harry and Meghan Markle's highly anticipated Netflix documentary has arrived, and with the second part of the series only one day away, celebrities have already started reacting to the royal controversy. In fact, the new trailer has already brought about a fresh wave of criticism, as it looks like the Sussexes are going to launch an outright attack on William and Kate. As a result, a laundry list of stars have condemned the series, and it seems like there's certainly going to be more to come. So let's take a look at the top 10 celebrities speaking out against Meghan and Harry's Netflix documentary. Number 10, Howard Stern. The radio host slammed the couple and labeled them as whiny B-words after he said that he had to sit through the painful first 3 episodes of their Netflix series. Stern said, "I wouldn't watch it, but my wife wants to watch it. You know, we have shows we watch, but they come off like such whiny B-words. I gotta tell you, man, I just don't get it." He went on to say that he understands that Prince Harry is angry at the monarchy for what happened with his mother. Then he says, "But Jesus Christ, when those two start whining about where, and they don't like me, and Meghan wants to be beloved in this country, but man, oh man, it's like the Kardashians except boring." Stern then brought up the privacy issue and said, "It's just weird to watch two people who keep screaming, 'We want our privacy. We wanted the press to leave us alone.' And then what is there special that they put out on Netflix showing you them and their kids and their life?" Funnily enough, this is one of the main criticisms that the couple seem to be getting. So much so that they have now had to release a statement through their press secretary saying that they never wanted privacy in the first place, claiming that very narrative was intended to trap them into silence. So apparently, their decision to step back never had anything to do with wanting to be out of the spotlight. Number 9, Kathy Griffin. The comedian made it clear that she was not exactly impressed by the way Meghan and Harry described the way they met in the new Netflix series. Kathy said, "They met on freaking Instagram. Prince Harry was just flipping through Instagram looking for a hot brunette like every other guy in LA. Then she said something pretty shocking. She jokingly compared Harry to Armie Hammer, who has recently been embroiled in allegations. Kathy said, "I'm disappointed. I thought this was going to be a great love story. Prince Harry's like Armie freaking Hammer. What if Prince Harry's the new House of Hammer?" Although she insisted that she wasn't trashing the couple, only questioning them, she went on to criticize their attitude and the British monarchy altogether. Kathy thinks that the Sussexes are acting like they can do so much good in the world, but went on to ask, when's the last time a royal did anything that helped the world? Quote, "Meghan kinda acts like she was never on Deal or No Deal. And when I say she kinda acts like, I mean they don't acknowledge it at all, which is hilarious to me. You don't think it's funny when Meghan acts like she doesn't know what hair and makeup is?" So obviously she wasn't buying Meghan's claim that she had no guidance whatsoever when she entered the royal family. Number 8, Sharon Osborne. Following the release of the latest trailer for the second part of their Netflix docuseries, the former talk show host lashed out at Harry and Meghan, telling them to move on and get a life. Sharon appeared on Piers Morgan Uncensored, where she weighed in on their controversial new project, saying, "It was all very distasteful, Piers. I was totally bored by the whining. It is just so horribly disrespectful and just a whine fest. I mean, is the book going to be the same thing? Are there going to be no positive points?" Sharon even went on to accuse the couple of having a deal with Netflix before they stepped down from royal duties. She said, "And that whole thing of him filming himself on the Freedom Flight, they must have had that deal with Netflix done months before they ever left. So the whole thing was a setup. Unless you had a deal, why would you have done that? Filming yourself on the plane and all of that, doing a video diary." Sharon felt that the series was a good opportunity for them to talk about their charity, but instead they chose to focus on how mistreated they were by the public, the press, and the royal family. She summed it all up by saying, "And you know what? You have a great life. You have a beautiful family, and you are so much in love. Move on, get a life, and move on." Number 7, Bethany Frankle. The Real Housewives of New York City star posted a TikTok review of the controversial new series after the first 3 episodes dropped on December the 8th. She said, "It didn't hold my attention. It seemed like they really wanted to be humanized. They wanted us to know that they are real human beings. We believe that you are really in love, and we believe that you're really human beings." Frankle went on to claim that Meghan just wanted to hang out with major celebrities and gain notoriety from the famous family, and that was the real motivation behind her moving to California. She said, "I feel like this entire documentary was about how famous we are. It was relentless. If you are being trolled by the media, the royal family gave you the advice to say nothing because that's the advice that most very famous people are given. If you add gasoline to a fire, the fire blows up even bigger. It felt like Meghan in particular just kept wanting to tell us more. The reality star felt that the show was a major cash grab and something that Meghan and Harry decided to do because they were already causing chaos by leaving the family. Frankle also said they really wanted to push the Princess Diana aspect, the comparison, and I feel like it achieves the opposite result because Diana was there 5, 6, 7 times longer than Meghan and entered the monarchy when she was just 19. It's just not the same comparison. Number 6, Piers Morgan. Not long after Netflix released the second trailer, the presenter fired a series of tweets launching a new attack on Harry and Meghan. He wrote, "King Charles needs to strip these two poisonous rats of all remaining titles and ties to the royal family, and needs to do it fast before they destroy the monarchy." Piers also targeted Netflix directly after they promoted the second part of the series. He wrote, "It's not a global event, it's a weekly trashing of their families." He then made another post saying, "Imagine being the royal family, still grieving the loss of your great matriarch just a few weeks ago, and now having to endure two relatives who deserted the royal duty and Britain for riches in America, publicly trashing you as racist and liars after a week. It's so disgusting." Earlier this week, Piers also compared the series to Keeping Up with the Kardashians and labeled it boring. But by far the point that he's taken the most issue with was that Meghan was compared to Princess Diana, which he called sickening and said, "Having known both women, I can say with absolute certainty they have nothing in common whatsoever." What he's talking about is the moment that Harry said, "So much of what Meghan is and how she is so similar to my mom. She has the same compassion, the same empathy. She has the same confidence. She has this warmth about her." And later on he says, "The pain and suffering of women marrying into this institution, this feeding frenzy, I was terrified and I didn't want history to repeat itself." Number 5, Megyn Kelly. The former Fox News presenter appeared on GB News and criticized Meghan Markle in particular for her apparent history of lies. Kelly compared the narrative of the documentary to Meghan's past statements and said, "Look at how she lied about the cast of The Lion King, who allegedly said that when she married Harry, they celebrated in South Africa like they did when Mandela was freed. And the lie that baby Archie was almost killed where they were. That was a lie too." Kelly called the Sussexes dishonest when reacting to the paparazzi photos that appeared in the trailer. She said, "I realize that Netflix or the director would have put together the trailer, but Meghan and Harry approved it," insinuating that they would have seen those pictures beforehand and understood that they were being misused. According to Kelly, Meghan picks a very specific incident or event and aggrandizes it to make herself either look like the victim or look like she's way more adored than she actually is. The presenter then brought up several photos used in the series that showed the Duchess crying and said, "I have never taken a photo of myself crying and certainly never released it to the public saying, 'Please feel sorry for me.' They want people to feel sorry for them, which is the most unattractive piece of this couple." So clearly she doesn't believe Meghan and Harry when they spoke about the turmoil they went through before leaving the royal family. Number 4, Holly Willoughby. Speaking about the Sussexes on This Morning Today show, Holly disagreed with Meghan's claim that the royal family is overly formal towards one another, even behind closed doors. She said, "To suggest somebody is a bit cold is a really horrible thing to try and brush away. We don't know Kate, but from what we see of her, the way somebody is with their own children, I think you get a pretty good idea." What she was reacting to was the way that Meghan said that she wore ripped jeans and was barefoot when Prince William and Kate came over for dinner, and how surprised she was by their formalities, because she called herself a hugger. To which Holly said, "I think suggesting that anyone within the royal family isn't a hugger, I don't believe that. We saw in the footage of Prince Charles talking to the kids, being normal. Just because you're posh doesn't mean you can't hug someone. It's crazy." Although she did make it clear that she understood where Harry and Meghan were coming from when they spoke about their desire to have a private life. She said, "What I got from the documentary was that their private life was stepping away from royal duty, but it's not private in the way that we see it, and maybe that's where the confusion comes from. It's the first time I understood, oh, that's what you mean by a private life. It's the opposite of public royal duties." So perhaps Harry and Meghan simply wanted freedom and not necessarily what we would consider privacy. Number 3, Gemma Collins. The reality star said, "I've got to be honest, I really like Meghan and Harry. The only thing I would say is that they do need to be loyal to the family. They shouldn't be airing any sort of dirty laundry in public." In the new clip of Harry and Meghan, the couple makes shocking claims against Prince William, alleging that palace officials were happy to lie to protect his brother, but were never willing to tell the truth to protect him and Meghan. Harry also claimed that the couple faced institutional gaslighting from the family, family. Aside from these allegations, Gemma took issue with one particular comment that Meghan made in her interview with Oprah Winfrey last year. She simply did not like the fact that she referred to the family as the firm and said, "I thought that was a bit near the mark. Well, to be honest, I thought, Jesus, you've got some balls. That's the only bit I didn't like, I've got to be honest." But Gemma did acknowledge that the public only get told certain information and might not get to see the whole picture because of the way the documentary was edited together. To sum it up, she said, "Look, I think she's made her mistake and she should have never called the family the firm. But Harry looks happy, and is everyone going to be tuning in to watch it? Yes. And I just think they're not in the royal family now, let them get on with it." Number 2, Dan Wooten. The GB News presenter did not mince words when he tweeted, "For a couple who claim they care about their privacy, in less than half an hour, Harry and Meghan have already shared with the world their private text messages, private photos from their dates, private video diaries, and private clips of their son." He also pointed out the hypocrisy that Harry was using clips of Princess Diana's infamous Panorama interview that William himself has tried so hard to get banned. Dan was especially critical about the moment that Harry said, "Meghan sacrificed everything she ever knew to join me in my world, and then pretty soon after that, I ended up sacrificing everything that I know to join her in her world." Dan said this statement made it sound as though Meghan and Harry had both joined some kind of cult and cut out any family members who challenged them or anyone who disagreed with them. This was one of the most telling quotes of the docuseries, because Harry clearly believes that both he and Meghan gave up certain things to be with each other. She gave up freedom and the ability to live her life how she wanted, and then obviously he ended up giving up his royal duties and separated from his family. Later on, he also brought up the situation with her father Thomas and said, "Of course, it's incredibly sad what happened. She had a father before all of this, and now she doesn't have a father, and I shouldered that, because if Meg wasn't with me, then her dad would still be her dad." And coming in at number 1, Kirsty Allsopp. The Channel 4 presenter tweeted, "It's totally okay to leave the family firm, but don't try and crash the share price after you've left. H&M wanted to have their cake and eat it too, and that's not how it works. If you want to be royal, work for it. If you don't, you're welcome to be like the rest of us." Allsopp even compared the couple's Netflix venture to an X-rated movie that one might put out there for revenge, implying that they chose to air their grievances with the palace in the most public way possible in order to inflict the most damage. Funnily enough, this wasn't even the first time that she questioned their motives. Back in September, the presenter addressed the public's perception of Meghan and Harry's return to the UK, as they were honouring the late Queen Elizabeth II. After they joined William and Kate in a rare reunion, Allsopp took the opportunity to respond to the headlines from the event. She pointed out that the couple's treatment of the Queen had been a cause of serious concern for some sections of the British public, and that's why they were not very well liked in the UK. And it seems like Meghan has once again been accused of disrespecting the Queen. In a video clip from the second episode, she was seen laughing uncontrollably as she described how Harry introduced her to his late grandmother. When she curtsied dramatically, many people felt that she was mocking Harry's family traditions and cultural beliefs.
Number 10, Beyonce. Since the harassment lawsuit was filed against her, the internet has completely turned on its head. Even Beyonce seems to have reacted to the accusations made against Lizzo. On Tuesday night, she recently took to the stage at Gillette Stadium in Massachusetts, which was the latest stop on her Renaissance tour. While performing Break My Soul, fans noticed that she deliberately left out Lizzo's name. In the original version of the song, the lyrics go Rosetta Tharpe, Santa Gold, Vogue, Bessie Smith, Nina Simone, Betty Davis, Solange Knowles, Badu, Lizzo, Kelly Rolls. But instead of saying Lizzo's name, she replaced the lyrics with Badu Badu Badu, and fans interpreted this moment in two ways. Some saw it as Beyonce avoiding a reference to Lizzo with the lawsuit controversy going on, while others pointed out the fact that she also took off Kelly Rowland's name from the song, so it most likely wasn't down to the events of the last few days. But if she really is giving her the cold shoulder, then that would be a little crazy, considering that Lizzo has long declared her adoration for Beyonce, like when she honored her during her own acceptance speech at the 2023 Grammy Awards. But it's possible that the tide is now turning for good. Number 9, Sophia Nali Allison. The Oscar-winning filmmaker weighed in on the situation, stating that she doesn't usually do so but felt compelled to. She made a post on social media saying that she'd quit her role as a director of a Lizzo documentary back in 2019 after only 2 weeks, because she said she was treated with such disrespect by her. She wrote, "I usually don't comment on anything pop culture related, but in 2019 I traveled a bit with Lizzo to be the director of her documentary. I walked walked away after 2 weeks. I was treated with such disrespect by her. I witnessed how arrogant and unkind she is. I was not protected and I was thrown into a bad situation with little support. My spirit said to run as fast as you effing can, and I'm so grateful I trusted my gut. I felt gaslit and I was deeply hurt, but I've healed. She went on to say that reading the reports made her realize how dangerous of a situation it was, and that Lizzo completely misused her power, which is something that happens far too often. Allison ended the post by saying that she supports the dancers who brought the original lawsuit against her. Soon after this allegation came out, it gave way for several others to step forward and share their own experience working with Lizzo. Number 8. Ariana Davis. The dancer at the center of the lawsuit claimed that Lizzo pressured her to touch a nude performer in Amsterdam during a group visit to a strip club after a performance in the city earlier this year. At the club, Lizzo allegedly began inviting several cast members to take turns touching the nude performers and began pressuring Ariana to touch the breasts of one of the nude women. Apparently, she declined, and then Lizzo led a chant encouraging her to do it. When she declined 3 more times, the chant grew louder and more strident, demanding that she touch her even though she was clearly uncomfortable at that moment. Afterward, Lizzo allegedly pressured a member of security to get on stage and started yelling at them to take off their clothes. Ariana also accused her of calling attention to her weight after a performance at South by Southwest Music Festival. Apparently, she told her that she seems less committed to her role, which is a comment that she took as thinly veiled concern about her weight. At one point, Lizzo had told the group that they would have to audition again in what was described as an excruciating 12-hour rehearsal, and if she wasn't satisfied, the dancers would be fired and then sent home. During the rehearsal, Ariana claimed that she was so fearful she'd lose her job if she even went to the bathroom that she ended up soiling her pants. So if that's not a toxic workplace, I don't know what is. Number 7. Crystal Williams. Along with Ariana Davis, Crystal Williams joined the dance team after competing on Lizzo's show called Watch Out for the Big Girls. After graduating from Sam Houston State University in 2020, Crystal sent an online submission to Lizzo's casting call. She was then cast and eventually appeared on the competition series, though her time on the show was brief. She dropped out early after immediately being selected by Lizzo as one of her backup dancers. According to the lawsuit, Crystal lost her job on April the 26th when Lizzo's tour manager fired her in a hotel lobby. This was after she spoke up at a meeting where she challenged a claim from Lizzo that the dancers were drinking before performances. Apparently, the manager said that it was all down to budget cuts, even though no one else was actually fired at this point. The lawyer for all 3 dancers, Ron Zambrano, released a statement saying the stunning nature of how Lizzo and her management team treated their performers seems to go against everything Lizzo stands for publicly. While privately, she weight shames her dancers and demeans them in ways that are not only illegal, but absolutely demoralizing. Number 6. Noelle Rodriguez. Noelle was hired as one of Lizzo's dancers in 2021 after she performed in the music video for Rumors, but she ended up resigning in early 2023 right after Crystal Williams was fired. Unlike the other 2 dancers, Noelle never went on Watch Out for the Big Girls. Before she worked with Lizzo, she was a background dancer in season 1 of Euphoria. She performed at last year's Oscars and danced with Beyonce at Coachella. She's even performed with Sam Smith on the Jingle Ball tour and Janet Jackson at the Billboard Music Awards, so she had quite the resume even before coming on board with Lizzo's dance team. According to the lawsuit, Noelle confronted her shortly after Crystal was fired, and after a contentious meeting where she was allegedly berating Ariana Davis. Noelle claims that she told Lizzo that she felt disrespected and then resigned from the tour. She then said that Lizzo approached her and started cracking her knuckles and balling her fists as though she wanted to fight. Their lawyer said they were really freaked out that last day when Lizzo started yelling, screaming and getting in people's faces, and the dancers were not just the plaintiffs. The other dancers were crying. It was just so intense. Number 5. Courtney Hollingquest. The former dancer who worked with Lizzo spoke out on her Instagram stories about her own experience with the singer. She explained that while she's not a part of the lawsuit, she does agree with all the things that Lizzo is accused of. In her own words, she said, "This was very much my experience in my time there. Big shout out to the dancers who had the courage to bring this to light." And this mistreatment seems to be a common theme among her backup dancers. One of the main plaintiffs behind the lawsuit, Ariana Davis, claimed that she was fired in April for recording one of the team meetings because she said that she suffered from an eye condition that sometimes left her disorientated in stressful situations. So the recording would help her catch up with what was going on. Days later, Lizzo held an emergency meeting and had security employees confiscate all the dancers' phones. She allegedly became furious and started yelling obscenities at the group, stating that she was going to go around the room person by person until someone told her who made the recording. Ariana finally owned up to it and said that she wanted to have a copy of the performance notes. She insisted that she didn't mean any harm by it and that she would go and delete the video, to which Lizzo allegedly responded by saying, "There is nothing you can say to make me believe you." She then fired her on the spot after berating her. Number 4, Quinn Wilson. Lizzo's former creative director agreed with Courtney Hollenquist's statement. She took to social media and wrote, "I haven't been a part of that world for 3 years, for a reason. I very much applaud the dancers' courage to bring this to light, and I grieve parts of my own experience. I'd appreciate space to understand my feelings." So basically at this point, fans were really starting to notice just how many of Lizzo's former colleagues had something negative to say about working with her. What's even more is that the dancers claimed that their team captain, Charlene Quigley, made some inappropriate sexual comments while chastising members of the team who had premarital sex. They believe that Lizzo was aware of these complaints against Charlene, but she chose to ignore them. They specifically accused Charlene of proselytizing to other performers and deriding those who had premarital sex. It was also said that she publicly discussed the virginity of one of the plaintiffs, even when it was made very clear to her that they were uncomfortable with it. So clearly these accusations are extremely serious, and whether or not Lizzo knew about what was going on with her team captain is still unclear. Number 3, Grimes. The musician seemed to be on the fence about the allegations against Lizzo, though she did give her honest take on the situation. While Grimes is willing to admit some bad things might have happened behind the scenes on Lizzo's tour, she compared it to her own experience on tour and said that she had dancers who were mistreated on her watch in ways that she didn't actually find out about until later. She went on to say, "But loyalty matters to me. Lizzo was kind to me and others for a decade before she was cool, and she checked in on me when no one cared. I've only ever seen exemplary behavior from her, especially when everyone was hating on me and she was on top of the world. There was no reason for her to check in besides to be a good person. Just my 2 cents. To those arguing that Lizzo was only nice to Grimes because she had some kind of power in the music industry, she was quick to point out that Lizzo was nice to her before she met Elon. She said this was around 2012, before anyone cared about either of them. Apparently she was even friendly with her when she was cancelled, which is probably why she wants to return the kindness. Number 2, online backlash. The reaction to this lawsuit has been absolutely chaotic. Even Lizzo's most devoted fans seem to be divided over who to believe. But the reason these allegations are getting so much attention is because they directly contradict the singer's brand of self-acceptance, inclusivity, and body positivity. Her personal brand radiates unbridled joy and unapologetic self-confidence. As a vocal supporter of fat-positive language, Lizzo has faced significant criticism and hostility online. So the revelation that she could have weight-shamed her dancers sent shockwaves through fans and media circles, because it really shows a powerful disconnect between her public persona and the behind-the-scenes music industry culture. There was also a very clear power imbalance happening because the dancers felt that they had to comply with requests that made them uncomfortable or they would risk losing their jobs, like the fact that they had to go to the strip club even though they clearly didn't want to. But there have also been some very interesting conversations happening since this news came out. One person tweeted, "Lizzo is a terrible person, but let's be honest, men don't even care about her victims. Instead, they just wanted a reason to openly be fatphobic to women, and this TikTok with more than 600,000 likes proves it, along with viral fatphobic tweets since the incident." And coming in at number 1, Lizzo's reaction. The singer finally responded to the lawsuit against her in a statement of her own. She dismissed the harassment claims as unbelievable and outrageous, and said that they are completely untrue. Lizzo insisted that her accusers had previously been warned about their inappropriate and unprofessional conduct. In a statement posted on Instagram, she wrote, "These last few days have been gut-wrenchingly difficult and overwhelmingly disappointing. My work ethic, morals, and respectfulness have been questioned. My character has been criticized. Usually I try not to respond to false allegations, but these are as unbelievable as they sound, and too outrageous to not be addressed." She called the allegations sensationalized stories that are coming from former employees who have already publicly admitted that they were told their behavior on tour was inappropriate and unprofessional. Lizzo went on to say, "As an artist, I have always been very passionate about what I do. I take my music and my performances seriously because at the end of the day, I only want to put out the best art that represents me and my fans. With passion comes hard work and high standards. Sometimes I have to make hard decisions, but it's never my intention to make anyone feel uncomfortable or like they haven't been valued as an important part of the team."